morning, welcome to Retired in Spain, day 12 of Vlogmas. I'm just coming down the supermarket to pick up an Amazon parcel. Now, that may seem insignificant, but when we first moved here, Amazon was rocking it in the UK, and when we got to Spain, it was shit. Absolute shit. You couldn't get anything, couldn't get it delivered. We were trying to order stuff from the UK, Amazon, it was hopeless. But over the last 8 years, they have improved phenomenally. So now we've got these lockers everywhere where we can come to the supermarket and pick up from the locker, which is what I'm going to do now. So it's a local supermarket called Dia. They've got a couple of lockers in here, 2 or 3 lockers. And the one that our package always ends up in is the one where you have to just get near the locker and start the process. And then with your phone, it kind of transmits via Bluetooth, communicates, and the door just pings open. Well, the amount of people, when you come in here, you see them standing there trying to figure out how to open the locker, and they haven't got a clue, not a clue, and they're standing there for ages. Then they ask people, they don't know either. So anyway, I'm well practiced at it now. I'm just going to go in and open this locker. Job done. Look, we've got lockers everywhere now. Look, that one, loads of them. Well, I've picked the parcel up, and now I'm just heading to another place because there's a few bits and bobs that I need to get. Yeah, what I was saying about Amazon in England, it's always been great, hasn't it? You know, Amazon Prime, you could subscribe to that, you could order almost anything you wanted and it would arrive, and here it was absolutely diabolical, but now it is really, really good. Probably on a par with what England was when we left. So there's lots of lockers in lots of places, garages, supermarkets, where you can go and pick up your stuff, and it's good. There are also lots of delivery companies, you know, like all the problems we used to have in the UK with all these different ones that would chuck parcels over fences and that kind of thing. Well, there are delivery companies here who, some of the drivers are a bit lazy, so what they'll do is they'll take everything they've got on board to one of their pickup points and just let you know it's there, and you think, well, I didn't ask for it to go there, but that's where it's gone. So then you have to jump in your car the next day, go down and make a pickup from a little office somewhere or something like that. In fact, on one occasion, I'll tell you this, on one occasion I went to the post office and it was closed, and I thought, well, while I'm here I'll go to the baker's 3 or 4 doors down. So I went to the baker's, walked in, I was ordering a loaf of bread, and I recognised like a parcel on the floor. It could have been for me, and I said, oh, who's that parcel for? And it was my parcel, and the delivery driver had dropped it off at a bakery that I never use, that I never asked for it to be at, nothing. And there was my parcel sitting on the floor of a bakery, and no one had told me. There was absolutely nothing. No news, no email, no text, nothing. So it can be a bit of hit and miss over here, especially with the postcode system as well, because like in England, you know, you've got a specific postcode which almost pins you down to maybe half a street, you know, NG11, whatever. But here you have one postcode for a whole town. So the postcode really, when I say it has no bearing on where you live, it lets them know what town you're in, but that's about it. And then you have to rely on other information that you add on, like, you know, maybe the building that you're in, the floor that you're on, the apartment number. But it can be very, very hit and miss here. So a lot of people have a box at the post office and they go down and pick it up, because you really can't be guaranteed to get your electric bill, and then 3 months later you find yourself cut off. So yeah, it's a bit strange, the delivery system, etc. But as I say, Amazon seems to have really got their shit together now, and all these lockers everywhere, it's brilliant. what we do now is we just elect to have it delivered to one of these boxes because we're guaranteed it'll be there for 3 days. We can go down at any time more or less and just pick it up, which is great. And especially the 24-hour service stations, you can just rock up whenever you choose. So that's my parcel. I'm just going now to a Spanish cash and carry to get some bits and bobs. There are lots of English people here who just, I don't know what it is. I mean, chicken is chicken, beef is beef, you know, a beef burger is a beef burger. But there are people here who insist on buying British stuff. You know, oh, I can't eat that Spanish stuff. Well, there's not, it's the same stuff. A chicken breast is a chicken breast, you know. And what they'll do is they'll go to these specialist English supermarkets. They'll pay through the nose, literally, you know, it's so expensive what it costs. I don't suppose Brexit's helped any. All for, I don't know, you know, like OXO cubes or something like that, you know, because they want OXO. But a lot of the big supermarkets now have an international aisle anyway, where they'll sell Bisto, OXO, Heinz tomato ketchup. Well, again, I mean, that's like international as well. Ketchup's ketchup and it's Heinz. And I really don't understand these people who drive miles and miles and miles to go to an English supermarket to literally pick up stuff that is equally available in Spanish supermarkets. Some people even go to Gibraltar, all the way down to Gibraltar, to go to Morrison's on Gibraltar to pick up stuff. And then they'll ask friends, oh, I'm going to Gibraltar, do you want anything? Oh yeah, I'll have 5,000 Yorkshire tea bags, please. You can buy those here. They're just 5 miles from their home, they can buy Yorkshire tea. But, oh yeah, they'll go to a specialist supermarket and they'll buy them. Another thing I spotted in an English supermarket, pot noodles, bloody pot noodles. Hundreds of them once, I went in. As if you can't get noodles in Spain. I mean, of course you can. Of course you can. You can get everything here. Everything you want, you can get here. Something else that they go and buy, Warburton's thick sliced white loaf of bread. Okay, so what are we saying? The Spanish don't have white sliced loaf? Of course they do. Of course they do. They have all their normal breads that they'll have out of the bakery section, but they also make bread that they put into polythene bags with a clip on it. I mean, it's like it's normal. It's normal stuff. Anyway, that's people. But at Christmas, one thing the Spanish don't have, I must say, is Christmas puddings. They don't have those. They don't have brandy butter or brandy cream. I'm talking about cream. That's another thing, actually. It's very difficult to find cream here that you can whip up. The one type of cream that you're supposed to be able to do that with is called montaña, mountain, because obviously you whip it up into like a mountain. But I was trying to make a trifle once for some Spanish friends of ours to show them what a trifle is, because they don't know that either. And I bought this cream, the right cream, montaña cream. I put it in the bowl, I put the mixer on it, 20 minutes to get a bit of fluff on my cream. Honest, it was, yeah, it took a while, I must say. So, but then, having said that, we were telling a friend of ours who lives in France about the problem with whipping cream, and she said, oh, they have a product here that you just add to anything like that, and it'll give you the ability to whip it up. And she very, very kindly sent us over a couple of packets, and it works a treat. So there's always an answer. There's always an answer. Anyway, I'm nearly where I'm going now. As I say, it's an English. It's a Spanish kind of cash and carry. They call it cash and carry. It's not really, because anyone's allowed in. It's a bit like that stupid thing they did in England with was it Matalan or some one of them. We had to have a card. You know, you had to have a card if you wanted to shop here, kind of thing, as if it was something special. Well, this is the same thing. It's a cash and carry. You don't need a card. Anyone can go in, and you can buy in units of one, or you can buy a case. It's entirely up to you. But it's nothing. It's nothing special. Nothing out of the ordinary. And they do all the stuff. And there really is. Oh, in fact, in there they've got a little English freezer where they have Wolverton's crumpets, muffin things. They do those. And they do what them sausages, Lincolnshire sausages, stuff like that. So there is one little freezer in there, but again, not cheap. I think a packet of crumpets is just over €250. I don't know what they are in Britain. In fact, when I left Britain, one of the things that I used to have all the time was Marks and Spencer's multi-grain crumpets. They were lovely, and I don't get those here, but I've learned to live without, so it's not a problem. There's lots and lots of stuff to make up for it. Anyway, I'm nearly there now. I'll see if I can add some more when I'm on the way home, if there's anything I can think of. It's a little selection of some of the English stuff. They've got the English shelf here. They actually call it Little England. So you got some Paxo, Branston, Heinz salad cream. We can get that anywhere here, anywhere. The only other thing really, which is sandwich spread, some cooking sauces. Well, they do all that here. Here's your Bisto, Nando's, this is clearly what British people have asked for, and they've got it in. Done my business. I'm just on my way home, and I've just gone past a scrapyard. Now, I don't know whether you still have those where you live, but in the old days when we had early cars and they used to break down and we needed an alternator or a headlamp or whatever, you'd always go to the scrapyard and you could normally find something, because you didn't have anything special or outrageous. You might have had a Ford Escort or something, and you could usually get yourself a headlight or an alternator or a door lock or something like that off the scrappy. Then they kind of disappeared as far as I can recall, but here they're still ever present. And in fact, there's one guy who owns a local garage. If you take your car to him, it takes ages to get it fixed and get it back, because he's waiting until they get a scrap one in at the scrapyard. Then he'll charge you full price for an alternator that he's actually got from the scrappy. So, yeah, you have to be very careful who you use. Same all over the world, I guess. They're all out there. Anyway, I'm back now, so if I don't see you again, catch up with you tomorrow. Bye now. Bye.